Discover the strategies and tactics the Dolphins use to break off long runs to gain an edge on the football field. Welcome back into the film room. I'm your host, Eric Turner. And before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the Cover One YouTube channel. The Bills are facing the Dolphins for the third time this season. And we all know, with the backup quarterback, Skylar Thompson, starting this game against the Bills defense, that it's going to come down to how well the Bills can shut down the Dolphins' run game. The Dolphins' offensive staff does a great job of using pre-snap shifting and motion to gain leverage for their run game. They use motion 73% of their plays, and that's number one in the league. Most fans understand that pre-snap movement is used to uncover or identify coverages. But the good coordinators use that to uncover run fits too. If you know the coverage, you have a pretty good understanding of how the runs are generally fit up. This allows coordinators to create advantageous matchups like on this play. Prior to the snap, the Dolphins motion their blocking tight end Durham Smythe. As he settles into the formation, the Jets safety drops down into the box. QB Skylar Thompson calls the alert and they check to a perimeter run to the wide side of the field. But let's dive into the details of this play to show you how the play was successful. On the snap, the wide receiver looks at the wide corner but then picks up the safety, in this position known as the force player. He is the key to getting to the perimeter. Fullback Alec Ingold also uses an influence technique on this play. He steps up as if he is going to block the defensive end, but then arcs out wide to pick up the corner. The defensive end is flat-footed and looking at the QB's action, trying to decipher if it's run or pass. But then he is met by Smythe. The ball gets on the perimeter and the Finns have a healthy gain. The Dolphins come back to the same formation but run a different play. The receiver comes across a formation once again, which forces the defense to change their structure. Remember, coverages are actually tied into run fits. Given the movement prior to the snap, the safety now has to adjust his alignment by coming down into the box in more of a cover 3 or single high zone structure. Mostert gets the ball and gets the one-on-one with the safety and completely trucks him for a nice gain. Here it is from the end zone angle. The Jets are forced to process and adjust their run fits as the ball is snapped because of the motion. The Dolphins had a good idea of said check, and it put the safety in the hole with Mostert. The Dolphins tried the very same thing from a two-back set in Week 3 against the Bills. They just used a different concept to get that one-on-one. There's your pre-snap movement. There's the Bills bumping their second-level defenders over. If you're asking why do they do that, the answer has several levels to it, but simply put, you don't want to be in man coverage and have Taron Johnson chasing Hill across the formation if a jet sweep were to unfold, because he'll be severely out-leveraged. And if it's a pass, he's toast anyways. So you have him bump over and have the strong side force player bump as well to contain the jet sweep if it's a run play. So the Bills check into cover 3 and bring Hamlin down to defend a gap and bump that second level. Hamlin has to get on his horse because the Dolphins snap the ball as the defense is processing. The right tackle is uncovered and is able to wall off Edmonds, with the wide receiver assigned to do the same thing to Johnson. The fullback Ingold picks up Boogie Basham as they run a bend back play. This would have put Hamlin one-on-one with Chase Edmonds. But Johnson doesn't fall for the misdirection. He works underneath the block by the receiver and trips up the running back. In the Week 15 matchup, the Finns once again attacked with their 21 personnel grouping, which is 2 running backs and 1 tight end, something they did 42% of the time in that game. And over the last 4 games, they've done it 35% of the time, the second most in the NFL. But in this game, the Bills lost defenders in the box, and important players at that. As Hill comes across the formation, Poyer bumps out wide and presses the line of scrimmage to defend the jet sweep. This is important because he is a support player on cutback runs. From the end zone angle, the backside guard and tackle are able to reach and seal Oliver and Shaq Lawson. So while the Finns ran a lead play on Taron Johnson, the cutback lane is huge because Oliver got reached and Poyer was pulled out of the box. Later in the game, the Dolphins run it again. This time, Poyer bumps out wide, but then settles on the line of scrimmage because he has a quarterback on a bootleg. With Poe looking out for that, Basham and Oliver must get across the face of the lineman. The frontside players gap out and do a good job of forcing the cutback. But because of the hold on Oliver and no backside pursuit or cutback player and bad tackling, the Dolphins score. And we all know tackling is very important. The Bills missed 15 tackles in this game, 9 against the run. As you may have noticed, Ingold is an integral piece to their offense. He's very much like a fullback tight end hybrid. And I thought they did a great job of using him at the point of attack in Week 15, a game where the Finns averaged 7.8 yards per attempt on the ground. Ingold was used to help neutralize one of the top run-stuffing defenders in the league in Gregory Rousseau. Here the right tackle gets hand leverage on the long-armed Rousseau, with Ingold attacking the body to create the displacement for this 5-yard gain. This allowed Ingold to help secure the point of attack, but also allowed the Finns to get their right guard Hunt on the cutback defender Taron Johnson. Just a well-thought-out design. The Dolphins are primarily a zone run team on the season, and even more so in the last 2 games with Thompson at quarterback. They've run zone runs 63% of the time. They stick to their zone blocking and use their tight end Smythe and Ingold as quasi-pullers like on this wrap concept. The Finns are in 21 personnel, with Ingold in the offline tight end position. He motions from left to right just prior to the ball being snapped. So that puts Johnson in a bad spot leverage-wise as the cutback defender. Right guard Hunt is able to scoop to Edmonds, with Ingold leading the way up to Milano. Hamlin is playing deep because the Bills are in a too high look, so the back isn't brought down until Johnson and Hamlin pin him along the sideline. The key to this wildcard game for the Bills will be slowing down the Dolphins' run game. That will make them one-dimensional. It will force them to pass the ball with quarterback Skylar Thompson. They must process and sort how the Dolphins' offensive staff are attempting to use motion or personnel to create advantageous matchups at the point of attack. If the Bills are able to slow down the Dolphins' run game and have their offense put some points on the board, it's going to really put some pressure on the Dolphins' offense. If you guys appreciated this breakdown, take a moment to smash that like button, leave us a comment in the comment section, and at the very least, click that subscribe button so that you're notified anytime we drop content on the Cover One YouTube channel. I'm Eric Turner, owner of Cover One, and until we get back into the film room, go Bills.